The plush red armchair seemed to swallow Chris Pratt whole, but his eyes, sharp and glinting, held the studio audience captive. Across from him, Graham Norton, a master of drawing out celebrity confessions, leaned forward, a subtle smirk playing on his lips. The air crackled with anticipation. What followed was a verbal takedown of Prince Harry, one that sent shockwaves through the studio and, within minutes, the digital world. Pratt, in a surprisingly candid and forceful manner, declared the Duke of Sussex a finished man, a phrase that hung heavy in the silence before erupting into a storm of social media frenzy. "Look, I respect anyone's journey," Pratt began, his voice low and deliberate, "but there's a difference between a journey of self-discovery and a public unraveling. Harry's narrative, as it's been presented, feels less like a courageous escape and more like a carefully curated performance of perpetual victimhood. He's traded the weight of royal duty for the weight of relentless self-pity, and frankly, it's exhausting to watch. He's a finished man, not in the sense of being incapable of redemption, but in the sense that the persona he's now projecting has reached its final, and frankly, underwhelming, act." Pratt's words, though delivered with a veneer of polite detachment, were laced with a biting undercurrent of disdain. He went on to articulate that the constant public airing of grievances, the tell-all interviews, and the carefully crafted narratives of victimhood had stripped Harry of any remaining mystique or respect. The audience, a mix of stunned silence and murmurs of agreement, watched as Pratt elaborated on his reasoning. "He's become a caricature," Pratt continued, his gaze fixed on the camera. "A royal rebel in theory, but a celebrity winner in practice. He's traded the weight of a crown for the weight of a podcast, and somehow, he seems even more burdened. He talks about wanting privacy, yet he constantly seeks the spotlight to dissect his trauma. It's a paradox that borders on performative, and it's wearing thin." Pratt's critique wasn't merely a personal opinion, it was a reflection of a growing sentiment among many who had watched Harry's post-royal trajectory with increasing disillusionment. The charm that once captivated the world had been replaced by a perceived sense of entitlement and a relentless need to justify his choices. The constant accusations against his family, the blurring of lines between personal trauma and public spectacle, had eroded the goodwill that once surrounded him. The interview ended with a round of applause, but the reverberations of Pratt's words continued to echo long after the cameras stopped rolling. The phrase, "finished man," became a trending topic, sparking a global debate about Harry's legacy and the consequences of his choices. Pratt's bold critique had ignited a firestorm, forcing a reckoning with the narrative that had been carefully constructed around the Duke of Sussex.